What's going on, YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe. Before we get into the video, there's a few things that I need to say up front. As you have seen the title of this video, I am all about having a conversation, debating, challenging each other's thoughts. This video, a good friend of mine wanted to have a debate, wanted to challenge me on a couple things. A few of my topics. Me and him had we've been going back and forth. We're really passionate about sports, and I'm going to bring him in. Let's welcome the one and only Sean Spencer. Let's talk football. Sean, what's good, man? How you feeling?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Just got out of work, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right. Same thing, working from home virtually. It's different from being at the office, but that's okay. Just go ahead, just tell us a little bit, let the people know who you are, and let them know. Let's talk to them.
Yeah, Sean Spencer. Let's talk football. Fall Monday night, 6 o'clock, with the amazing Janae Struther, the round table, Nicholas, Zario, Nathan, Delilah, Washington Football Weekly, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock. Ab Lowe, Will Kramer, Anton Benton, and wherever else there's a microphone and the record button is on, I'll be there. So, yep.
I like it. I also want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to John Means of the Baltimore Orioles. Threw a no-hitter yesterday. First one in 52 years. The last guy to do it was the great Jim Palmer. Actually, we did it coming right off the DL. So I'm not going to lie, Sean, this team, everyone wrote us off saying, they had us at 0.0% chance of actually just being relevant. And, this is the year 3 of the rebuild. And I'm not going to lie, they're I'm not saying that they're going to win the World Series, but they're going to make people raise some eyebrows and go, okay, that team in Baltimore, listen, man, they're coming. The future is very bright for this team.
Yeah, they got some things putting together. I mean, they had that great 3-0 start, didn't last, we had the woes, but again, it's a 162 game season.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, it's only May. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's definitely a bright sign. I'm glad to see that. I did not catch that, but I'll definitely go back and check that one out.
For sure. So our first topic of this video, we're going to revisit Bucky Brooks. I did a video where Bucky Brooks was on the show with Marcellus Wiley and Emil Ocho. And Bucky Brooks, let me pull up the video real quick. Give me 1 second. He talked about the idea of letting the Baltimore Ravens should graduate from Lamar Jackson. And obviously, I had a conversation with Sean on this, and Sean and I were really passionate about this subject. And just pull the video up real quick. So I'm going to share my screen real quick so we can all see the quote, and I'm going to play a little bit of the clip. I'm also going to replay my video, just the where I'm going to play some of it. But here is the quote here. Sean, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so quote, they can take a collegiate approach to the quarterback position. They cash in on a blue chip and take Justin Fields, and maybe they operate as a college team. One QB graduates and the other steps in the starter's role. You have the opportunity to keep a starting QB on a young deal to build up the rest of the assets and play smash mouth football. Now, I'm going to play his part again, and then we're going to get into it.
Football League, meaning we further. He said we are the army of the National Football League, meaning we run the football, we play option football. This is something that is systematic that gives us an advantage over other NFL opponents. And so with that, I started thinking, okay, if they're talking about being the army of the National Football League, that means that he is taking a collegiate approach to how they do it. And so now when we look at the facts when it comes to building a Super Bowl team, it is factual that when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, you can build a better team. It puts you in better position to field a Super Bowl champion. And so when you look at the situation now where we are with Lamar Jackson is about to have his fifth-year option picked up. He's about to be a quarterback that commands maybe $40 million. Eric DeCosta said, man, it is really hard to build a team when the quarterback commands so much money. So why not this year? They traded away Orlando Brown to get 2 first-round picks. If Justin Fields happens to slide, they could be in range to grab Justin Fields, continue to have Lamar Jackson play on his 5th-year option, and then rather than pay him $40 million plus per, they could say, hello, graduation. We now have a redshirt freshman who is ready to pick up the deal. We can keep all of the assets and the pieces in place and continue to do what we do, because doing what we've done, we're 31-7 since we made the wholesale investment in this option approach. Maybe, just maybe, the team can sustain the success by having a rookie quarterback continue to take it over.
Okay, so I had did a video in response, and I pretty much did not agree with his take. I thought his take was very, very biased towards Lamar. I want to make sure that I say the right things here. And I'm on the record for saying this. We know that Lamar Jackson has to get better with his mechanics as a quarterback. I'm quoting regular Ravens fan. He has said this. Trust your eyes. He's 31. The Ravens, since Lamar Jackson has been a starting quarterback, people, he's 31-7. We cannot deny that. We're not saying that Lamar Jackson is the best thing that's happened to the Baltimore Ravens. Mind you, the year he came in as a starter, the team morale and the season was on the line, and John Harbaugh's coaching job was on the line. You saw the team was motivated with Lamar. Joe Flacco, with all due respect, as serviceable as Flacco was for 10 years here, those last few years, particularly Flacco as a starter, were telling. Now, if you look at what Bucky was saying in his quote, he is saying, well, let's graduate from Lamar and let's draft another quarterback. Why would the Baltimore Ravens turn around after replacing Joe Flacco 5 years later, go, Lamar, thank you. We're moving on. Now, I'm going to add, again, I said in that video, he's not replaceable. He's a generational type player. Again, and I'm quoting regular Ravens fan. He has said this. The notion that you cannot win with a mobile quarterback is BS. Sean is a Washington football fan. RG3, Russell Wilson, Mark Brunell, Steve McNair, John Elway, Steve Young. I mean, I can go on. But at the end of the day, he didn't say those things. He didn't make those comments, well, the Kansas City Chiefs should graduate from Patrick Mahomes. Why is it it's with Lamar Jackson, and it's not just with Bucky Brooks. It's with I've heard, well, if he wins a Super Bowl, he can't win multiple. That the offense takes a step back. I understand they were dead last in passing, but last time I checked, a quarterback needs wide receivers to catch the ball. Let me give you his wide receivers, and they're all and they can play. Marquise Brown, one dimensional. Miles Boykin. This might be Miles Boykin's last opportunity to prove why he was drafted. They were talking about moving him to tight end. Mark Andrews, who's his best target. Duvernay and Poche, they don't get an opportunity to eat. They bring in a Sammy Watkins. They just drafted, I can't think of the kid's name from, I want to say it was Oklahoma, who I think is a stud. But I'm saying now he's got Rashard Bateman. He has another weapon to play with. My thing is, why would I, after 5 years, say I'm done when he's made this? When the team with him behind center is 31-7. If the Ravens last week drafted Justin Fields with one of those picks, and Justin Fields is on the bench this year and next year, Justin Fields starts and he doesn't pan out, what's the excuse? I just didn't agree with it. I think that and again, and that's why I'm saying the goalpost on Lamar Jackson has always been moved and always will be moved. So, Sean, you go. Let's hear what you got to say.
I think it was different. I think Bucky was looking at it from a financial standpoint. You heard all the stuff that they had dealing in Dallas with Dak Prescott and how they fought tooth and nail not to give him that amount of money. And you're right. Lamar is a generational talent, and he is. He's a very generational talent. But there's a difference when you talk about a running quarterback and a rushing quarterback. Okay? When you look at an RG3, when you look at and mind you, RG3 didn't win anything. You know what I mean? He took him to the playoffs and he lost because he was on one leg. Thank you, Aloti Nata. But you look at a Steve Young, you look at a John Elway. When they won their Super Bowls, they won them after the fact. When they weren't a running team, when they had a stacked team and they were able to sit in the pocket. You know what I mean? Everybody looks at Elway and that one play where he runs and does a little helicopter thing against the Packers, but he wasn't a running quarterback at that time. At that time, he was more of a game manager, more sat back in the pocket. The actual thing that we're talking about with the rushing quarterback goes along the lines of what you were saying, with you can't have a passing team, you can't have a running team. You have to be good at one. And they're not down the middle. They're far to the left. They're far running. And when you're that, if you don't have anything, if somebody puts 11 guys in a line of scrimmage and stops you and you do not have anything to go on, that's going to be a problem. When I looked at this and when I heard what Bucky said, in my mind he said, listen, hey, you got to think of the future. You have to. And it's crazy to think about that because you have a guy like this who is Lamar. Lamar is in a situation that a Phillip Rivers was in, or some of these guys in the 80s, maybe a Wade Wilson. You're a great talent. You're amazing. A Randall Cunningham, an amazing quarterback, but there's something that's not pushing over the top. When he's talking about giving $40 million, he's talking about, well, there's a lot of needs on this team. You talk about Orlando Jones going and Ngakoue on defense. Those guys, a lot of guys and a lot of holes, and they filled a lot of those in the draft. Yep. But if you start putting that money in time, and he's very worth it. I don't think it's a question of is he worth it or not. He's very worth the money. But at the same time, it's a business decision right now. In my mind, I do think if you had the opportunity to get Justin Fields, yes. Is he going to sit on the bench? Yes. Whether or not he does anything is besides the point. He is a proven talent, and if something happens, why everybody looks at Steve Young when he was pissed on the bench when he was behind Joe Montana. But when Joe Montana went down, and Joe Montana went down a lot, Steve Young stepped in, and they did not miss a beat. We had a game last year, and I told you this in the thing where we had in the group chat. We had a game last year where you had your boy go out, the cramp game, where he went out with cramp. You know what I mean? Well, it's speculate. We don't know what he did, but it was garbage. The people that were in the game against him, like it was when you had McSorley and Hunt, like those guys, they didn't do a thing. You know what I mean? And that offense, still, if you hand off the ball, if you get things going, it's solid. But when you have Lamar in the game, people have to put 4 or 5 guys focused on that one player, and it was a drop-off. So I definitely thought they needed to get a backup to potentially challenge more because we have to say facts. He was 14-2. They lost in divisional. He got back to the divisional. They lost in the divisional. It seems like there's a hump that he has to get over. And that hump is named KC, KC, and it's Patrick Mahomes. And they have not been able to beat the Chiefs. That hump is, I believe, next going to be Buffalo. They struggle with Buffalo. They need to focus on building a stronger team. If you put everything into Lamar, it's what are we going to, it's 6-1, what are we going to do? Because if it doesn't work, see, you're always asking the question, oh, well, what happens if Justin Fields comes and it doesn't work? What happens if Lamar comes, you get to the divisional championship every single year? Are you going to be okay with that? After 10 years, when you're talking about boycott this, are you going to be okay if Lamar can't get over that hump? I don't think they're moving the goalposts. He came in with high expectations, and he's doing great. But there's a certain point where you got to go, boom. You got to keep moving. Is he judged differently? Yes, he's judged differently. He was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Is he judged differently? Yes, he's a generational talent. But there's got to, and there's a lot of holes on your team, so it's easy to say the recipe. I get it. But he's going to get that type of attention. He's going to warrant that type of criticism because of the fact that people respond to winning. This is a win-now league. People respond to that, and they're going to sit there and say that. I don't agree that you need to let him go. Not at all. I wouldn't let him go. I would keep him on my squad. But at the same time, hell yeah, I'd put a fire under his ass. I would do that.
Let me ask you a question because you brought up the fact that they lost to Tennessee when they went 14-2, then they lost to Buffalo. Now, the year they lost to Tennessee, Lamar Jackson threw for 365 yards. Last time I checked, the score was 20-12. Last time I checked, wide receivers weren't catching the ball. And last time I checked, Derrick Henry ran over all of that defense, made Earl Thompson like a rag doll. So when do we start looking at the others around Lamar Jackson? When do we start? Let me finish. When do we start going, well, you know what? That defense needs to be better. Listen, I love Calais Campbell, but Calais Campbell, I believe, was going to be 34, 35. I think he's going to be 35 this year. I don't like that contract. Derek Wolfe, I think he's a great player. Brandon Williams is big at $8 million. That defense, that front four are all a year older. Judon did not perform well. He was franchise tag. He only recorded 6 sacks. That's embarrassing. And
we're talking about that 14-2 year, right? We're talking about that year they went 14-2.
I'm talking about this year before we got Calais Campbell. This past
season.
You
were talking. Wait, first of all, you were talking about that 14-2 year.
Yes,
when we said we blamed him for the problem in the playoff game. My thing to that is that 14-2 year. Who do we give credit for those 14 wins? For that, what did you have, like an 11-game win streak that year? Was it like 11 or 12-game win streak?
It was a 10-11 as we lost to Kansas. We lost to Kansas City and Cleveland shut it on us here.
Right. Who do we give credit for those 14 wins? I mean, at the end of the day.
Now the media was giving Lamar Jackson credit. I was thinking it was a team effort because you saw everybody collectively, everybody seemed in harmony when they got to. Remember also too, Lamar, they didn't practice for I think like before that divisional game. They weren't ready. Tennessee just the week before was in a wild card.
Right.
They were not ready for Tennessee. Plain and simple. And what was the excuse? Lamar Jackson has to get better at throwing the pass. I think he had almost 60 completions. But last time I checked, wide receivers getting paychecks too. Miles Boykin.
Okay, but again, one of your arguments is said you cannot lead the league in rushing and passing.
No, you can't.
When you say he throws 60 passes to me, that to me tells me that's an unsuccessful day. Because this man has run the ball all season. My thing is this, with the whole thing about the regular season coming to the playoff game. Everybody was great in the regular season, like you said. Everybody worked together and they played complementary football. Then what happened in the playoffs? It was an everybody thing. But with me, I go to the leader. Let's be very honest right now. If that defense wasn't there, if those wide receivers wasn't there, they would still probably be about 12-4 because of Lamar.
Fair.
Okay?
That's
So
fair.
at the end of the day, I don't care if you throw for 300 yards. I don't care if you are throwing your receivers are dropping the ball. You are that guy that I'm like, okay, boom, everything break down. You need to make it happen. And I understand things like that don't happen, but you got to put it on him. Like I just don't like if we put it on him when he's the cover of Madden. We put it on him when he's that Heisman, he's that great guy, boom. But then we try to say, oh, I don't understand why they're blaming this, and this, and that. I'm extra hard, especially on black quarterbacks. Because I feel like and that's why that whole goalpost thing messes with me. Because the goalposts are already double. They have already moved the goalpost super far. So to say, oh, they moved it farther, no, BS. Then you sit there and take two larger steps. You already know what they said. He made the joke in his press conference. I'm a running back, right? Who cares? Bet I'm a running back. I'm gonna still run over your ass. That's just what it is. So in my mind, I don't give him a pass. I don't give Randall a pass. I didn't give Warren a pass because it's McNair, the same thing. I don't give these guys a pass. But the things that I think that are different, when you look at Aaron McNair, and you guys had him in Baltimore, Aaron McNair was a trump. He was a tank. He could run. And when he first came into the league, that's what he was. That's what everybody, this guy's a running quarterback. He worked on his passing game. You look at that Super Bowl, that last drive, he scrambled, but he scrambled to find the open field to make something happen. So that's what I need to see out of Lamar.
So you're going to tell me, so example, so the game where last year, the Monday Night Football game, I've seen moments where Lamar Jackson has come out the pocket and thrown the football. I have seen that. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, the one thing, the media does a great job. See, you work more on the long pass. I have seen him go out the pocket and throw the ball, but I've also seen him go out the pocket. Now, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about in other games that I've seen. I have seen him do the same exact thing, and guys either drop the ball or he overthrows it. Now, again, I've made it clear: Lamar Jackson has to work on his mechanics. You and I are on that. We agree with that. But I'm not giving the others around him a pass neither. Marquise Brown is one-dimensional. Marquise Brown is not like contact.
Right.
Miles Boykin, 6'4", was supposed to be this wide receiver to come out of college. Now they want to make him a tight end. Poche and Duvernay. Historically, the Ravens, no matter where they drafted a wide receiver, they don't develop a wide receiver. That's why T. Martin from Tennessee, I'm hoping he does his thing with these guys. But I agree with you that we have to say, you know what, Lamar, you know what, this is year 4, expectations. But at the last time I checked, it's a team effort. You can't do it by yourself.
This is what Bucky was saying, though. Part of the thing is you give him $40 million. This is why there's holes on the other part of the team. You are right. Dez Bryant, Miles Boykin, these are not household names. The reason why they are that way is because you guys are a running team. If I'm a guy that's a solid wide receiver, and I mean a guy, and I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about these divas. I'm just talking about somebody that gets my 70, 80 catches a year. It's going to, third down. I know we're running a hitch pattern for 10 yards, things like that. I'm not saying Lamar can't do that, but with your offense, it is pattern towards the run. The receiver does, at times, get pushed in the back. People, that's optic. People see that. They know that you are relying on the running game. You are relying on Lamar running and then spin off of that, which is fine. But you're not getting the Drew Brees, you're not getting that high spread offense. Some of these receivers, I understand what Sammy Watkins said. I understand that some of these, I'm not saying they don't want to come, but I'm saying case in point, if I'm going to play wide receiver in college, I'm not going to go to a school that runs the T or the wing T or the I formation or something like that because I know their focus at the end of the day is run, 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 run. Okay? I know they pass. I'm not chopping Lamar for his passing. I'm just saying the focus is clear. It is clear. What did Harbaugh say in the press conference? We're an army. We're a running team. The focus is clear. The focus ain't on receivers. That's why you get a Boykin. That's why you get some of these guys because they're not going to be like, they're not, like, I know what some of these guys were in college. Hollywood Brown. I know what he was in college.
Yep.
But the pros, they have not translated because they aren't big guys. Like when I look at, you mentioned before on Let's Talk Football Roundtable, you mentioned last time you guys had guys was what? Anquan Bolden.
Torrey Smith,
right.
Jacoby Jones.
Right. That was a different offense. You know what I mean? That was a very different offense, and it kind of catered to putting the ball out there.
But you can say this. But you can make the same. But what you're saying, but see, that kind of makes my point because if you're saying the focus is all rushing, then you should say the same thing about the year the 2000 Ravens because that was a primarily rushing. Well, there was a defensive team, but primarily on the offensive side of the ball was rushing.
They rushed because they didn't have a quarterback. Like you said, they had Tony Banks. In your video, you say you had Tony Banks, and then Trent Dilfer came in the end. Between the two of them,
but they didn't have an offensive touchdown. If I remember correctly, it was 6 games.
Yeah, so essentially, I'm saying they did not have a quarterback. I remember we played y'all in one of those 6 games. Y'all didn't have a quarterback. Okay, we were garbage that year. Y'all didn't have y'all had arguably one of the top 3 to 5 defenses of all time. Okay. You had Jamal Lewis, right, a 2,000-yard rusher. All right, you had Jonathan Ogden on that O-line. Like you had you didn't need a quarterback. That's why things are so different with those 3 years because that first year was Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis played everything basically. The second when Flacco did it, Flacco was passing the ball. It was that kind of offense.
Let me ask you a question. So by those standards with Flacco, because I did say this in that Bucky Brooks video, when Flacco, and I'm quoting regular Ravens fan because regular Ravens fans did say this, the who's quarterback of 2012, Andrew Luck. He's a YouTuber here. He's a YouTuber. I'll send you something.
Is he the bar? Is he the one that we all got to listen to? Does he know everything, or why are you quoting him? I'm just asking you because I don't know who this person is.
Well, because I mean, I've had conversations with him on this, and some of the videos I've seen of him where he's pointing out facts and different things like that. Like the year that the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012, Flacco outplayed Luck, Luck, Manning, Brady, and Kaepernick. So by those standards, correct me. So Joe Flacco should be an elite quarterback then. If he outplayed Tom Brady twice,
for that year.
No, after that year. After that year, yeah, Joe Flacco should be considered elite quarterback.
For that year, he was elite. I mean, he played elite. Are we talking about?
I'm talking about the next year.
Forever? No, but I'm saying, are we labeling him elite because he played elite in that playoff? Do we then label him as now he's elite forever, or are we saying he's just that 2000 whatever year he was elite? The next year was a new year. I do it by year. That's why I never got on with a lot of these like corners that they did. Like 1 year, this corner he's amazing, the best thing since sliced rice and since sliced cheese. And then the next year he gets toasted by everybody. Like year by year is different to me. So when I see that 1 year with Flacco, he was amazing. He was hands down, and that's why they gave him the Super Bowl MVP. That's why they gave him that truck at the end of the year. And the first thing in my mind was, he got a truck. That's it. He's got everything.
Exactly. But that was $120 million right. of waste of money because he only led them to one playoff appearance and lost, and that was against the Patriots and lost. Right. See, the thing is, I understand your argument when it comes to at some point we do have to look at Lamar, but I'm not going to ignore him from 2018. He's 31-7. I'm not ignoring that. I understand that this is a running football team, but last time I checked, the Patriots, when they won, I believe the year they won 16-0, they didn't have a rushing game. Okay, they had Randy Moss, Wes Welker, and those boys.
Mhm.
Your 49ers. Well, not your, I mean, the 49ers, you grew up with the 49ers. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice. He had
Roger
Tony,
Craig, Tony
Roger
Rath,
Craig,
Tom
Tony
Rathman.
Mack.
He
That
had
was
a
a bad,
solid running game.
solid, okay, solid ranking, but he had Jerry Rice. I can't remember the other wide receiver that played on the other side of
John
Jerry
Taylor,
Rice.
John Taylor.
Thank you. But see, but that was a I would say in my personal opinion, that was kind of a balanced offense.
Mm-hmm.
The Philadelphia Eagles. They had
Randall.
Mm-hmm. And then when Donovan McNabb got there, he had Terrell Owens. Before Terrell Owens went there, we said the same thing. Donovan McNabb had Todd Pinkerton and Freddie Mitchell.
Look, I think Donovan might be more along Lamar, and this is but they gave Donovan help. Donovan had a lot. He had a solid defense too.
Defense was solid.
Randall, oh damn it! Hold up. The thing I'm gonna say with Randall is I think Randall is very similar to Lamar, and the reason why I'm gonna say that is because with Lamar and Randall, their run game's led by the quarterback. You know what I mean? Lamar has help in the running game. J.K. Dobbins, he had Mark Ingram for a year. You know what I'm saying? He had help in the running game. Randall Cunningham had like James Toney. You know what I mean? Like he had absolutely nobody on his running game. And those QB-led running games, like even when Steve Young was scrambling, he wasn't. They didn't do QB draws. You know what I mean? Like
right.
You know what I mean? Like they might do a QB sneak or something, but they didn't do a QB draw. They didn't do plays that were like QB power to the right, QB call, QB this or that. They didn't have that type of stuff. So I get their argument when they're saying that can't potentially go. I don't know. I think it can myself, but that's on them. But in my mind, and going back to the initial argument,
right,
I thought that Bucky Brooks was right in the fact that he said, you need to take finances, because you do need to, at some point, think about, I know you want to give him the money, and I'm with that, but at some point, you might want to restructure something so that you can get help. Because you're going to need, he's going to get paid. He's going to be great. But just like you said about Justin Fields, if he gets hurt, if something happens where Lamar goes down, Lamar went down this year. Didn't he have COVID?
Yeah, he had COVID. Yeah, RG3 stuff played with Pittsburgh.
Right. And I watched that game. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people, I watched that in the beginning, and RG3 was doing decent, but then he choked like he normally. And I got nothing against RG3, but I watched that one, and I remember thinking, if you had anybody at that level of Lamar, they would have been able to beat. Because I saw the whole of that game. We ended up beating the Steelers not too long after that. But I saw the holes in that D. Well, I just feel like with Lamar, and you brought up RG3, so with Lamar, with that running style, with that running ability, eventually something is going to happen.
But you don't think in his case, because
I don't think get him out of here. I'm
saying, but he's 24. He's not even in his prime yet. He's still up here. Same thing with, look at Cam Newton. At some point, I look at with basketball, right? When you have guys, high fly dunkers, at some point they get a little older, they might want to start playing down low in the post. Lamar Jackson gradually at some point could become more of a pocket could be a pocket passer and not have to all the time, like Cam Newton, for example, always run out the pocket. But I'm not ignoring the fact he won MVP. He won through 36 touchdowns. Last year, again, the team was a little different. COVID. I think last year was kind of an off year for not just Lamar, but for the whole team, for everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, when half your team goes down with COVID, and I saw the game against Pittsburgh, I was surprised. Now, Trace McSorley hit through a nice dime to Hollywood Brown, but that's neither here nor there. But let me ask this question. The year that Lamar Jackson won MVP, was that a true MVP or was it a sympathy MVP?
No, I think it was a true MVP.
Okay.
I think he's by far an MVP talent, and I think most of his years that he'll play a full 16 games, he should be in that conversation by far. He's one of those guys, hands down. I'm not disputing that, but I am disputing that we're gonna give a pass to his receivers need to do this and that need to do that, blah blah blah. I think what more along the lines of what Bookie Brooks is saying, whether you're coming to finances, because that pay we're both in agreement that payday is right around the corner.
Yes.
Okay, and he well deserves it, but that money is gonna have to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? We don't know what the salary cap's gonna do, and if you want to pay for a big name receiver, and the best thing you guys did was get Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, get him. You have a couple years to pay him cheap. If you can get somebody else through free agency or something of that nature, that would be perfect. But I'm telling you, man, it's that money that you're paying him, if it does not garner results, and I mean championship to Super Bowl, and I hate to say that, they're going to be on his ass. They're going to continue to be on his ass.
You should say the same thing with Patrick Mahomes next season, and I don't want to hear.
He won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. He
doesn't matter.
Two.
That was over. That was last. I'm talking about going forward. I'm talking about going forward. I don't listen. I don't care about last season, the year before. This season coming up. The fact you put an offensive line around him, that's great. But the Kansas City Chiefs are going to think about paying the Cheetah. They're going to think about paying Nico Hardman. They're going to have to pay Edwards-Helaire. Some of those defense, a couple of those guys are getting older. The Honey Badger, he's going to probably look for a big payday. You got to think about stuff like that. And that's the same case. Say the same thing about Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen.
Let me ask you this. We're in regards just to Patrick Mahomes. If this coming year, Lamar takes the title and they win, and then I make this very same argument, who cares about what happened last year? Who cares about what happened when he did this? We're talking about this year coming up. How are you going to respond? That's moving the goalposts in my mind. This man has been to two Super Bowls back to back in 3 years. We got to give him his due. I am with Lamar, but Patrick, we got to give him his due now. Whether that's the coaching, the team around him, whether that's whatever. You know what I mean? Whether it's that Eric Bieniemy, one of the most brilliant minds in the game right now, is with him. Whatever it is, the fact he has done that. So we can't dismiss that. We can't dismiss it like it has not happened, because it has happened. And Lamar has gone 14-2. Lamar has taken your team to the playoffs. Lamar makes you guys instant contenders. Yes. But look, just because I'm saying this guy won Super Bowl doesn't mean I'm slighting him. I'm just saying there's somebody at this level right now. You can't look. I get the love for Lamar. I get that. I'm with that. But I'm telling you right now, you got to give Patrick his due, because Patrick has done it.
Listen, I give him his due, but I'm talking about they didn't have an offensive line in the Super Bowl. Okay, what do? They get Zeus Jr. from us. They get Tony, Kyle Long out of retirement. Now you have your pieces. Now let's see what happens. But but you got Cleveland, same thing. If Baker Mayfield doesn't get them to the Super Bowl this year, or at least past the AFC Championship, Cleveland should do the same thing. Josh Allen.
Baker's been on the hot seat. Baker's been on the hot seat every year. They wanted to get rid of him this year. I was the only person saying they were going to go to the playoffs.
Baker has been on the hot seat, but I did not see Bucky Brooks or anybody come out with a video like this on Lamar talking about, let's graduate from Baker, let's graduate from Josh Allen. This draft class of quarterbacks that just drafted last week, 5 years. Nick and Delilah's Bears. If Justin Fields, because now I hate to say this, the Bears are in a win now situation. If the Bears can't get to the NFC Championship after 5 years, thanks. Move on.
Now that's very different. I don't agree with that. And the reason why I'm gonna tell you is another thing that I've said to you. You guys have to remember something. The Baltimore Ravens, since 2000, have won 2 titles. There is a culture there as winners. Strong defense, strong running game, solid quarterback play, titles. They have been perennial studs in the AFC. Am I wrong on any of those things?
No, you're not.
So there's the bar is higher. Okay? If a Justin Fields comes here or to Chicago, they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Is that right? No. But Lamar is on a team that is far more worthy of that kind of praise because they've done it before. They have the blueprint. Okay? You can send Justin Fields to Chicago, and I love him, Nick Zalato, but that, you know, the management that let go of Trubisky, the management that spent all that money, spent $10 million on Dalton and all that money on Nick Foles, is the same damn management that got this kid. So right. I love it, and I hope his play will do better. But I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. But their situation is different. They can keep him for a couple years because for 2 years they keep him, and then Nagy and them leave. Then the next regime's coming in like, oh, we got a kid and we believe in this. You know, they can do that. Lamar came in behind Joe Flacco, Super Bowl MVP winning quarterback. And that's where you're right, where that 1 year gave him a little bit more hype and street and cred than he deserved. Okay? He had a great year, but nobody, and you can, if I'm wrong, call me out, but nobody can sit here and tell me that year, and that playoff especially, didn't change once Ray Lewis told the team, this is it. This is my last ride. You can't tell me that they didn't jump up. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's different for you guys. You guys, Lamar's taking over the reins to Joe Flacco, who won a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, when you're talking about at the end of the year, what are we all after winning a Super Bowl? The Ravens have done it. You've tasted it, Nathan. You're younger than me, man. You've tasted 2 Super Bowls in the last, 20 years. I remember 92. I remember sitting here staying up, and I was in 3rd grade or 2nd grade watching Washington win a Super Bowl thinking, oh my God, this is going to happen every year. And now, what are we, 30 years later almost, and we haven't done a damn thing? Like, I'm saying, when you've been there and when the taste of that Super Bowl, that taste of that glory is not that far back. You know what I mean? And it's not like you fell off immediately. That's why I go to the 14-2 season. Because I'm like, look, when you had that dominant of the team and then you lay the egg that you did in the championship, it's not all Lamar, but he's going to get that. Because
unfortunately, I agree with. Unfortunately, the media's going to look at Lamar because Lamar is the star of the team. But
right.
what I'm saying is that the goalpost is always moved on Lamar because his draft class never gets this kind of talk. Baker Mayfield, I get people in the last 2 years have talked about him, but again, Baker Mayfield has Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry.
Were they in the same draft class?
Yes, Baker Mayfield was number 1 overall pick.
I thought he was a Heisman.
Baker?
Yeah.
Let's Google that real quick.
Look that. I thought Baker was a Heisman.
Baker, I believe he is a Heisman.
Yeah, but Lamar was a Heisman. Wait, did Lamar come out his Heisman year?
No, he came out his junior year, I believe.
So then the year after, okay, that would make sense then. Okay, he came
Baker's
out the year after. Okay, but Lamar came out that following year then.
Yeah, he came out. Let me see, Big Ten. Hold on. Yeah, he was a junior when he came out. So because he won the Heisman 2016. So Baker won it the next year. So Lamar won it in 2016, and Baker won it the next year.
Okay.
So, I mean,
but look, but even with that though, okay, he has been on the hot seat, but the Browns haven't won anything in 20 years. You know what I mean?
They just won the AFC Championship last season.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But I mean, before that, what have they done? Like, I get it. We can give them credit for what they did this last year. But like you said yourself, this last year was stricken by COVID. Right. You know what I mean? Your team was taken out by COVID for half the year. That's definitely
most cases throughout the league.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That propels them to be able. And again, they have, X amount of first round. Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. You know what I mean? Those times, all these first round picks, they didn't get that thing for winning Super Bowls. They got that because they were the worst team in the league for years. So Baker, any kind of success, we want him out, but any type of success, they're gonna push him along. You guys have won. You guys have won. And I can't, even with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, these teams have not had success. You guys have had success. So now they're looking like, oh, well, shoot, something's not working. What is it? And a lot of times, unfortunately, just like they did to Eric Dickerson in the 80s, when a great player is on a team making good money, but the team is not getting over a certain hump, they're going to go, you're the best player. You know what I mean? And that means enter Bucky Brooks.
We said the same thing. You can make the same argument in basketball and baseball. In basketball, for example, the coach is always getting scapegoated. When you have great players, like for example, the Milwaukee Bucks, they have Giannis and Antetokounmpo. Mike Budenholzer this season could be if they don't get to the conference finals, he's gone.
Yeah.
Terry Stotts in Portland after this season is most likely gone. So I mean, at some point, I'm looking at the guys around Lamar, and I'm saying the others got to step up too. Lamar, again, Lamar is someone in some instances I've seen with Lamar. Hey, Lamar, come on, man, you can be better than that. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying at the end of the day, if we're going to have takes like this, then let's do it with all 32 NFL teams. If we're talking about this as a results-oriented league, the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, you said it, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert.
How high do you put Lamar? Do you put him top 5 QBs in the league?
As of this season?
Yeah.
Top 10.
Top 10? Okay.
Yes.
On your team, can you take any two players, put them together, put their overall together and match them to Lamar?
Marlon, offense only or defense?
Two offensive players, I'll say that.
Marlon,
you have any two players that you can put together and equal them to a Lamar. And the reason why
just on offense?
Yeah.
Mark Andrews. And that's I can't say anybody else.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, when you have generational talent, Barry Sanders, prime example. How many years did he get blamed for Detroit not winning a Super Bowl or getting to the playoffs? That wasn't his fault. He needed help. Absolutely your point. He needed the help. But at the end of the day, when you're that damn good and Lamar is that damn good, you are going to get that criticism. They're going to come after you, and they're going to say, well, something ain't working, and it's you. And it's not him. That's not what it is. It's not Lamar. It's the rest of the team needs the help. It's this and that. But they'll find a way to do that, honestly. And in my mind, I think that because I don't think he really is going to mess with the media. I don't think the media is really going to challenge him. But if he has that young little whippersnapper on his tail, you know what I'm saying? If he has that young guy looking over, oh snap! If I have one of these cramp games or whatever,
with that because you saw what happened in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. That divided the locker room. But again, I think that was.
On the flip side, could this be Trey Lance and Jimmy G? You know what I mean?
But we know Jimmy Garoppolo's at the door.
Right, but that's the thing. I've had conversations. Shout out to Will Kramer, Let's Talk Football, Watching Football Weekly, and he was saying Jimmy G, who and Shanahan and all them, they're 100% on the same page. They sat there and took the boy out to dinner when he got drafted. Jimmy G hit up Trey Lance like, "Welcome to the team. I can't wait to work with you." Da da da. That's not every day. We know that. That's not something that happens every day between quarter. You got Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, prime example. That's not something that happens. So
I mean,
I think that would be. I think if Justin Fields would come in, he would have gone up to a Lamar and he would have said, "Yo, I'm a sponge. Teach you everything you need. You ain't got to worry about me. I'm just trying to learn." And I think that'd been beneficial for y'all team.
Now, I do want to say this because I definitely want to go into the next topic. I do want to take this opportunity to apologize to Sean. I did misquote him in the video where because he did say, and that we did talk about this, where we did agree on a backup. I like Trace McSorley and I like Tyler Huntley, but if Lamar Jackson went down for 3 to 4 weeks, these are our quarterbacks. I've seen what Trace McSorley can throw the ball, but he's not. I haven't seen enough from him. I mean, college highlights. That's great. Tyler Huntley, he played a couple games here and the last year was against the Jags.
Trace McSorley is like 4'11". That guy's tiny.
I think he's like 5'1", something like that.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. He's tiny. I mean, you know, you got. I mean, there are many Johnny Manziels where they're small and they can still run around. Or Doug Flutie. Trace McSorley, he's from my area. He's from Ashburn, Virginia. You know, and I love his ability. I love what he did at Penn State. But he literally looked like a boy in a man's game out there. Well, in the games that I watched.
Well, John Harbaugh came out and said, you know, who was going to be the quarterback if Lamar couldn't play. And once McSorley went down, Willie Snead was going to be the quarterback. So I just want to ask this one question. We're going to go on to the next topic. When the Washington football team drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins, how did you feel about that?
I'm going to be very honest with you, and I'm sure you kind of went through this when Lamar got drafted. After Robert got drafted, I didn't really care about anything else. I kind of lost my you know what I mean? I lost it, you know. And he looks in his rookie picture kind of like Andre 3000 with it. Andre 3000, I'm a huge Outkast fan. So to me, I was in heaven. I didn't even. It wasn't until later that, you know, one of my old buddies hit me up. He was like, "Oh, Kirk Cousins got drafted too," and I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Yeah, we got RG3. I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins." What? So I didn't care. Right? You know, now my fiance.
Let me say this: do you regret not giving Kirk Cousins a long-term contract?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins to me was he's gonna give you. He's like almost like Jameis Winston in a sense. He's gonna give you big numbers. He's gonna give you 4,000 passing yards. Kirk's good for that. He's gonna give you that. He's gonna give you his 20 to 30 TDs. But when you're sitting there and you're driving down the field and it's certain parts of the game and you're on the goal line, he's gonna give it up. He's gonna give it up, and he just doesn't have that kill in him, that dog in him. You know what I mean? Like, he's a great quarterback. He's top 2. I'd say top 15 quarterback. He's a solid guy. I mean, I love him. My fiance got to interview him actually, like the whole night. I like the guy, but at the end of the day, I do not agree with how Washington did him. No, they did him very good, and I don't agree with that at all. But again, even that was a progression because one year he's coming in there throwing 4,500 yards with Garcon and D-Jax and Jordan Reed, and the next year they took all 3 of them away from him. You know what I mean? And he still threw 4,000 yards.
Yeah, I remember that season.
You know what I mean? With no line, no nothing, but he couldn't get it done, man. I more power to you. I'm glad he got paid. I don't know if he's 84 mil worthy, but I'm glad he got paid. So, you know, more power to you, man, for real.
Well, you know, definitely that was a good conversation. I'm gonna just close out by saying this. You know, we do have to look at our quarterback situation closely, but I'm also looking at the others around him. I'm not giving quarterbacks passes. I hold their feet to the fire just as much as, you know, the next player. I'm looking at this season. Hey, Lamar Jackson, you got the wide receiver you needed, but let's see what they do. Marcus was good. He did against Kevin Gates. Hashtag you like
that? You like that? Yes, sir. I did like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, hey, more power to Kurt because he can have those type of games. He can have those type of games, but I'm going to say this and it kind of bridges to the Lamar thing. At the end of the day, it's a business.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a business. And at the end of the day, there's going to be some young whippersnapper, a Trevor Lawrence, a Justin Fields that has been hyped up all off season, talked about by people like us, and they're gonna go in there and they're gonna say, "This is it. This guy is the guy." And once they do that, it goes back to what you said. You were saying, hey, don't tell me about what they did yesterday, because that was yesterday. Tell me about what they're gonna do this year. Tell me about what they got, and that's how people are looking at it. So in that sense, I get the moving goalposts because, yeah, unfortunately, just like a new car, the minute you drive it off the lot, the value is already going down. The minute you win the Super Bowl, the value is already going down. Then it's like, oh, don't tell me about last year. We're already talking about 2022.
And again, I want to make this clear. I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes, but I'm looking
because he's better. Because he's far better.
But they're two different. But they're two different type quarterbacks.
I'm just showing you how far this is.
That's not right. They're two different type quarterbacks. We're gonna go to the next topic. The next topic. I'm gonna talk about Deion Sanders and his coaching at Jackson State. How many if I'm saying that correct, Sean? Is it Jackson State? Yes. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Yes, sir. I want to give a shout out to Cameron Crump. Cameron.
Don't shout him out. Don't shout. He don't want to get on camera. He don't need to get shouted out. So hey, I hope he sees this too. You don't want to get on camera? Jared got on camera, but you didn't get on? I'm not shouting you out, man.
Cameron actually, in a group chat, brought this up to me. Marcus is also in the group chat, and Elliot, about this. And I want to share my screen so you can see the quote here. And I thought this was really good to talk about because I know in the society that we're in today, it's very, very hold on, you clicked the link. I'm sorry, I forgot to click the link. Very, very, it's really, really, really tough. So here's what he's saying. Here's his Instagram, and we have the audacity to hate on one another while our kids are being neglected and rejected. I witnessed a multitude of kids that we played against that were more qualified to be drafted. My prayer is that this won't ever happen again. Get your knife out my back and fight with me, not against me. There were 259 picks in the NFL draft, 2021 NFL draft, and not a single draft pick featured a player from a HBCU. Sean, I'm going to start with you. When you see this type of reaction from the great Deion Sanders, what comes to mind? What do you think? What are you thinking?
Okay, he's just verbalizing what we had all thought. Verbalizing what we thought, that the attention is being taken away. They've done nothing but, and excuse me for going this vulgar, they've done nothing but rape our schools, our HBCUs since forever. Back when? Oh my goodness! Look at the talent that came. The Willie Laniers, the great athletes coming from these small schools. Walter Payton came from this Jackson State. Mississippi Valley State gave us Jerry Rice. I mean, you know what I mean?
Alcorn State gave us Steve McNair.
Right. You know what I mean? You have these guys that were absolutely amazing and that were scouted and looked at. My guy, I always talk about it, Washington Football Weekly, number 17, Doug Williams, first black quarterback to start in the Super Bowl, first black quarterback to win in the Super Bowl. They took those guys from there. Why? Because those guys are hungrier. Those guys want to play the game. And there was a period in time when we couldn't go to these other universities. Absolutely. Why? Because we're black. Let's just keep it right there. Okay? We couldn't go to those other schools. We couldn't go to those other places. So we had to go to these schools. And we were hungrier, just like in the Negro Leagues of baseball. We were hungrier. And he's absolutely right with this comment. For some reason, we're going away from that. And part of it is because they don't value the talent at these schools. And the other part of it is because, let's be honest, you have two toys in front of you. You have one that's really it's shiny, it's new, it's the iPad, da 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 da. And you have another one that's an Atari, that's this and that. Okay? What are you gonna go for? You're gonna go for the shiny one, the Ohio State, the Clemson, the Alabama that gets on TV every week, that gets the top, 5 of the top 32 picks. You're gonna go there because you want to go to the big leagues and do all that stuff. You don't go to the little no-name school that might not get any attention on TV. I'm sorry, it sucks, but it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. And I'm glad he came out here and said it, because then it becomes, I know a lot of people looked at Deion Sanders going to Jackson State and they're like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. He's going to coach somewhere. But they didn't look at it as if he was coaching Ohio State.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They didn't look at it like, oh, Deion's going to coach
at Alabama.
State. Oh, yeah, Alabama. You know what I mean? Like, oh, look what he's doing. They didn't look at it like that. Why? I mean, that's self-explanatory. But the fact of the matter is, I'll give them this. First coaching job. You know what I'm saying? He knows the game. We know he was the best corner of all time. Only one I put up there is maybe Dick Night Train Lane, and my boy Daryl Green is right behind him. You know what I mean? Like, he is the epitome of a great corner, dual sport guy. He is amazing. We all know the accolades and this and that. He knows talent, but somewhere along the line that doesn't compute. Somewhere along the line, they're saying that those two things, even though he's been around it, he knows it, he's played with it, some reason that doesn't compute. Maybe he doesn't know. So they look down on the fact that he's at Jackson State and doing this. But he's coming out there saying it. And he's saying that it's not just the community that we've been told is doing this to us. He's saying sometimes that crab in the barrel mentality in our own community is the ones that's doing it. Right. That's not giving any attention and things to that. So that's what I think he meant when he referenced take the knife out my back. Don't work against me, work with me. You know what I mean? So I can go. I'm from the South. I'm from the Carolinas, so I can go on this one all day. I know how those SEC schools used to not ever want to start a black quarterback till Tennessee did it. You know what I mean? Like, I know how they're looked at and things like that, and for him to go to the school of maybe one of the greatest running backs of all time, Walter Payton, it says something. And he paid homage to Walter Payton. He went back there, and I'm telling you, I don't know if you've seen those games. They played them in the spring. Some of those games were pretty hot.
They were definitely, and they're just as competitive as seeing Alabama versus Ohio State. They're just competitive as any other school. I agree with that. I mean, personally, my take on it, when Cameron first sent it to me, my reaction was I disagreed with it because, and let me be careful when I say this, from the standpoint, well, I did a video back in the summer where the Brooklyn Nets hired Steve Nash, and everybody was like, well, that's white privilege. Like, we're not giving black coaches an opportunity. And we know there were black coaches that had no experience that did get a chance to coach in the NBA. When I went back to look back at what he was saying, I understood what he was saying, because he's saying, wait a minute, these guys are just as talented as anyone who plays at Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon. They're just as talented. Now, unfortunately, because again, politics, the NCAA, they keep the divide of really putting these HBCUs on the map, letting them know, like, if you remember Grambling State, after the great Coach Robinson died, that program was in shambles. Like, when you're seeing, their training facilities and all, being particularly just not what a training facility should be. Like, when he's saying 259 picks and not a single one was an HBCU, that's a bit telling. But again, I I'm not going to, and I don't like the fact that this excuse that COVID was because of the pandemic didn't get a chance to go into to the HBCUs. That's BS, people. If you can be on a Zoom or Google Meet and see the combine, then you could go see a couple of these guys at the HBCU. Don't make any difference. So I'm with Dion on this one. Um, I am a firm believer that you know what we still have work to do, and the HBCUs I think are important. I think HBCUs just blatantly just get disrespected. I've seen great talent come out of HBCUs, and we're even seeing in basketball. Now, not to change the sport, but basketball last year, I think it was like a 4 or 5 star. He committed to Howard University
Mm-hmm.
over Kentucky, Duke. I can't remember the other school. So HBCUs are on the rise, and what Dion is really trying to kill this narrative that hey, let's give these guys an opportunity. Let's give these guys a chance. And me personally, I see nothing wrong with what he said. I also too think it goes both ways. I think we HBCUs have to really work with their programs to get these guys, get the attention of these guys up. Because, like you said, all the games, Jackson State versus Elkhorn State, they're just as highly competitive. So I'm with Dion on that and with you on that one. Let's see. Not to go off topic, should the Ravens GM be held accountable for not drafting and develop wide receivers? Yes and no. Marcus, not to go back on this, but Eric DeCosta should be held to a certain standard because his job is to draft and develop talent. And I also think coaching plays a role in that as well. But we'll see what it looks like this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are quick question, if you are any other coach at an HBCU, Sean, how are you taking that approach?
You appreciate that Dion is there because he's going to bring and Eddie George. Eddie George is another one that's in there. Marshall Falk was one of the people that they said they were trying to get him to go to Southern and coach down there. Excuse me. If you have these guys that can only help, bring notoriety, bring attention, who doesn't want to go play for these guys? Honestly, I mean, obviously you want to see if they can coach, if they can do that, because to my knowledge, they don't have prior coaching knowledge outside of maybe Little League. I know Dion's got like a Little League team, or he coached the Suns team. But you welcome it. You welcome it because you're going to give much needed attention to an area that is underappreciated. For sure. I mean, but again, at the and anything you can get is help. Unfortunately, you have to look at the HBCUs and the MEAC conference and the SWAC and these conferences almost in the same light that you look at the WNBA towards the NBA. They have good ball. They play good ball. They're doing great things. But at the end of the day, people want the brand. They want the brand name. You know what I mean? Yeah, they want that. They know that, and they're going to go back to that, period. You know what I mean? Exactly. Better play. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the fact that these major schools and institutions and universities are getting more money, getting federally funded. All these coaches are getting paid. The facilities are getting paid. The HBCUs are not getting paid. And I'm not even going to call out number 45, our previous person that we were supposed to follow, and he was in charge, who was talking about, I'm going to give money to the HBCUs. Yeah. And then once he was out of office, I'll take that back. I didn't do that. You know what I mean? They need to put that money into the HBCUs, but it's an uphill battle. Uphill battle.
But also, too, I also want to hold those, players. Like, for example, I like a Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. Consider going to these schools. I mean, listen, just because Nick Saban or Coach Jimbo say, listen, if you come to my program, you're an instant top 5 pick. Instead of going, it's sometimes it's not about the quality, it's about the quantity. Right. It's about what are you gaining from that program when you go to that school. And also, by the way, just because you go to an Alabama, Duke, Oregon, you're still getting the same degree. Right. It's just like you said, it's just a name. Yeah. No matter where you play, Steve McNair, you said it, Walter Payton, they came out of respectable HBCU football programs, just as highly respectable as someone going to do Kentucky, Alabama, Oregon. I just really challenge some of these guys that are upcoming. Consider an HBCU. Sometimes it's not about going to the sexy school, because you can go to the most sexy school and fall and not pan out.
Right. And I mean, that's an excellent point, because a lot of those times you go to an Alabama and you're like the 6th or 7th best player at your position.
Yep.
And you might have come from your town or your small area or whatever. You were the best thing cooking. You come to these big name schools, you're not going to be that same talent. And the problem, though, is that they don't immediately go to the HBCU from there. That's not their second option. When they go to another school that might not be as prominent as Alabama, but still gets funded. You know what I mean? If I don't go to an Alabama, I can go to a Kentucky or a Vanderbilt and still be at the best facilities, even though we're not winning but 2 games a year. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's money, it's finance, it's all that. You got to fund these guys. You know?
Exactly. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Next topic, we're going to get into Aaron Rodgers. Oh, my gosh, Sean, I'm pretty sure you've been on this just like I've been on the last few weeks. I really, since I go back a couple years, the relationship with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, I just think at this point is done. I hate, and let me just start off by saying this. Brett Favre, when Aaron Rodgers was drafted, let's just call it what it is. Brett Favre had a problem with that. Brett Favre couldn't make up his mind about wanting to retire or move on. We could say those first couple years, he held Aaron Rodgers back because the team was ready. They were ready to pass the torch to Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre wasn't like that. You see a lot of prima donna like with Aaron Rodgers right now. I think the way Aaron Rodgers has handled this is poor. I've never seen, and I mean, I actually take it back. I have seen players come out on social media or whatever saying, I don't want to play with this team anymore. Aaron Rodgers, with all due respect, has not come out himself and said, you know what, I'm done. And then he comes out and says, well, if you want me to stay, fire that GM, which tells me that there's something else going on there. And that means not just that, when Devontae Adams tweets out, makes his statements about Aaron Rodgers, it ain't.
What did Adams say? What did Adams say?
He basically said you need to appreciate what you have. Just appreciate what you have. I mean,
he didn't appreciate that last year.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm saying Aaron Rodgers didn't appreciate what he had last year. He was crying about the stuff last year. But look, the thing is, at the end of the day, and we knew this after last year, after they fired McCarthy, how much power does he have? He has all power. Yep. You know what I mean? In Green Bay, he is all powerful. Let's be honest right now. There's Vince Lombardi, there's Brett Favre, and there's Aaron Rodgers. And again, I hate to keep going back to this Super Bowl, but he has a Super Bowl win. Okay, one of 3 quarterbacks in the Green Bay Packers that has a Super Bowl win. He is deemed the best pound-for-pound quarterback in the league. I mean, if not best, but most people look at him as far as his throwing ability and all that as that guy. He has that power. He got rid of the coach. He got a new coach. He has that power. So now he's just, at his mind, he's looking for somebody else to blame, in my mind. You went 48-5. You told everybody, hell yeah, I can still do this. I'm getting NFL MVP. I'm still that guy. And you got to the championship game, and what was ironic about it, you get to the championship game, and then you come off the field for a field goal in a situation that looks like you're a rookie and you don't have any power. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? That was the time when I would have thought Aaron Rodgers would be like, all right, field goal, get out of here. Stay off the field. I'm Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? So this move is this is who I expect. You know, let me throw my, stuff around, my cojones. Let me tell you that I am this guy. I'm the Aaron Rodgers. I'm Mr. Discount Double Check. I'm Mr. Rodgers Rate. Whatever commercial you want to use, I am that guy. So yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. And you mentioned who he's mimiking. He's mimicking Brett Favre. You know, I mean, verbatim, play right from the playbook. Oh, last year he did the same thing. Oh, I want out. I want this guy going. Oh, okay, they cut him and they got a new coach in. Boom, we're in. We're good to go. The same thing is happening this year. He has the power. I hate to say, so he can act like a spoiled little whiny brat, but he has that ability. And you've already seen 17 teams. The trade suggestion. We're number 2, by the way. Number 2. Yep. Yep. That happens. Oh yes. But yeah, nah. It's ridiculous, man.
Remind me, it was Cleveland, Washington. I'm Miami.
Denver was first. Yeah, Denver was first.
These were those his destinations?
So no, it looked on ESPN. It was the suggestions. It was the suggestions in different places that have built packages and offered certain things out there. So I don't think that was personally him going out there and saying, these are the teams that I go for. Because as you've heard, I'm assuming you've heard, he wants to go back to the West Coast.
So basically San Francisco or right. Arizona.
Right.
Oakland.
But at the same time, I think that he wants.
They're in Las Vegas now. Sorry.
I think it was Oakland. But at this point, I think he wants out of Green Bay bad enough
for sure
that it don't really matter to him. It does not matter.
It would be dope. There you go, Sean.
Bring him home. Let's go.
And it's funny.
Bring him home.
And it's interesting. And I compare it. And Elliot may agree if he's watching. He may disagree with me on this. And I said the same thing about James Harden. See, we're giving these guys too much power, and then when the team, because that Super Bowl was what year? I can't remember. I think ever since he's been
Super Bowl 45. I think it was 2010, maybe
2010, 2009.
2010, yeah, right around that year, right around those years.
Since then, Aaron Rodgers has been to 5 NFC Championship games.
Yep.
So at some point, we got to start saying, well, maybe it's you. Yep. Maybe it's you. We're not saying, listen, last year he was MVP. Not taking anything away from that. But there was one play. Let me see if I can bring that up. This is where I knew that if I was the Green Bay Packers, I would have moved on from him. Let me pull that up real quick.
Now look. Some can say, while you pull this up, some can say, and they can make the argument that you guys are only a couple years removed from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't think you guys, I think you got a good coaching staff and a good front office in place to where you wouldn't give control to Lamar like you do with Aaron Rodgers. But Lamar is that type of player that you give him the keys to the Ferrari. You just say, look, bro, don't crash it. And if you crash it, don't total it. Keep going. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't think, well,
I'm trying to find the play.
I'm saying, if we're going to be completely candid, I don't know they'd give it to him that quickly because he's a brother.
Right.
Washington did give the keys to RG3, though.
Now I got it pulled up because these last 3 minutes were completely telling of Aaron Rodgers. Now I'm gonna show this one. So obviously the one okay not that play. So right here, that was a bad pass. Okay, I think that was just miscommunication.
Go back on that one though.
See, that was just a bad pass.
Yeah, miscommunication because Lazard didn't even look back.
He didn't.
It was a hot read, and he didn't. He missed that one.
Now here's the play where I think right here he's got. Let's slow it down. Can I slow it down? Yes, I can. Where I believe, yeah, right here. Yeah. He's got an open. I say he can get about 7 yards there. Another wild pass that he overthrew Devontae Adams on that one.
Now I've looked back at that one multiple times, and at one point I agreed that he could have definitely ran that, but I think he only would have been able to run that if he would have pump faked it. Now my argument that I made earlier the year, like I think it was on Let's Talk Football with Janae. The argument I made is the week before he had a similar type situation, a little closer to the goal line. Malcolm Floyd was coming up. He was rolling out. Malcolm Floyd came up to him. He pump faked Malcolm Floyd, got Malcolm Floyd up off the ground, and then ran in for a touchdown.
Ran into it. So that's the play.
Yeah. I said if he could have pump faked and done that, I absolutely agree with that. There's different angles. It was a little bit farther. I somewhat agree he could have done that, but that definitely was crucial because the pass was wild. It was high, threw it up and above, and it was on the back of the sideline. And if you look back, as a matter of fact, on that play, there was other people that were coming open if bought a little bit more time. Right. So I think when he saw the one guy in front of him that was double covered, and he should have just straight looked him off, pump faked him off, and then kept it going. So I agree with that. He should have kept moving.
But I just think that those last 3 minutes, I think, were telling. Honestly, I think that was just me personally. That was just the end of Aaron Rodgers. Me, if I'm GM, okay, I'm done with him because it doesn't. Regardless of who's making the play calling or not, you are the star. You say no, y'all stay out there, stay back. We're gonna go for it. And right there, I just think it was just Aaron Rodgers going, all right, I ain't getting my way, so fuck it. I just think that personally, we need to start holding these guys and we give them this type of power closely. Because I ain't gonna lie, what he's doing is in terms of power is abusive. Mm-hmm. Because now I hate to say it, poor Jordan Love is now going to be thrown to the fire. Like, hey, because if you think about it, they're building this team for Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Now they drafted Eric Stokes with their pick because Kevin King was getting burnt like toast. Or Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller's a good wide receiver, by the way.
Yeah. I was about to say, don't sleep on Scotty.
I'm not sleeping on Scotty. I'm just saying he was getting burnt like toast. He made Scotty Miller look like the second coming of Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, Aaron Rodgers has help.
Yeah.
How about you as a quarterback work with their guys in the off season? How about let's us getting on Zoom, Google Meet. Let's go over the playbook. Let's go over the play design. How do you like me to? Where do you want me to be throwing the ball? Where do you like making the others better? And Aaron Rodgers hasn't done that. I think it's all been about him. And I think if
now hold up. I got to dispute you on that just for a little bit because if you could honestly tell me that before work with Aaron Rodgers, you had ever heard of Alan Lazard or Valdez Scantling or Robert Tunyon or somebody. I mean, I'll give. We all know Devontae Adams by far top 10 receiver. Like he's amazing. Yes, but them other guys, I don't know who the heck those guys are. And he definitely comes in there and he makes them better, and he does that. But I agree that he's not. He's feeling himself some type of way.
Yes,
he's thinking he can come into work and be discount, double check Aaron and all that nonsense, and somebody cares about that. And you're right. It's just like a spoiled child that they've let go too far down the line, and now he don't care.
No,
now he's gonna do whatever he wants.
Now
right.
again, now see, like you say, you want him to come to Washington. Now listen, Riverboat Ron is a no nonsense guy.
Right.
Listen, he cut Dwayne Haskins because Dwayne Haskins thought, let me look at girls go up and down them poles is more important than trying to win some games in Washington. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
Riverboat Ron don't take no crap.
Right.
Kyle Shanahan would love to have an Aaron Rodgers, but he ain't gonna take no crap. Right. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is a headache in a locker room, but I'm saying guys need to kind of look over their shoulder and go, okay, but look, this is the guy we're bringing in our locker room. Because suppose he comes in there and we ain't winning. Look, I mean, Brett Favre when he went to the Jets. Okay, that's not good. But when he went to Minnesota, he tried to prove a point to Green Bay, saying, "Listen, y'all need me." And unfortunately, they tried to send him to the hospital on that Bounty Gate game when he was playing the Saints. But Aaron Rodgers
in the NFC Championship,
in the NFC Championship game, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But Aaron Rodgers again is no spring chicken. He's not getting any younger, and I get it because they're holding him to the standard of Tom Brady, because Tom Brady won the 7th championship and he's 43. Mm-hmm. So
and Drew Brees too.
Drew Brees as well. So unfortunately, I don't like it. I really do hope that the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers can work something out. But the way it's looking, they're done with him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Personally, I mean, I would love for him to come to Washington, but at the same time, I'm like, man, let's wait and hold out. Let's see what Fitzpatrick can do and save the money. Because you have to spend too much to get him.
For him. Exactly. And I saw it on the group and on Facebook where they had the type of trades. Mm-hmm. Like they had 4 definitions. Like he would go to the Steelers.
Yeah. For us, it was Fitzpatrick, Matt Ioannidis, 2 first rounds, and then 2 second rounds. So it's kind of like, would I do it? Of course, I would do it because it is. I mean, it's an Aaron Rodgers. It's the same thing as like if you in 5 years are in this situation and Lamar is doing that and he wants out. Am I going to give that up for him? Yes, absolutely, I will, and I'll worry about the consequences later. But it's still looking at it now. It's like, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Our last topic for tonight, let's just recap this NFL draft. I did a video on that, giving my grades on each pick. Now I want to go back on the Bucky Brooks video. Also, again, Sean, that was not directed at any member of Let's Talk Football. That was just me just venting on Bucky Brooks. I just want to put that out there. If I put that out earlier. Right. So draft recap. Sean, what did you think of the draft? Who was your favorite player? Who do you think lost the draft? Do you think if we had to redo the draft, and we could potentially do this on another day, let me know. Which team should have really what a team should have really taken?
The biggest surprise for me in the draft was Dallas. Basically all defense, but not. I think they focused more on linebackers than they should have, and they didn't focus enough on corners. I know they got a couple corners, but they got later corners. They had an opportunity to get tactics in hand. And in the number one rule that you never do in a draft is trade inside the division.
You never do that.
Why would you do that? But then again, I've heard, because we're doing a lot of things and the Giants are doing a lot of things, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, you know what I mean? So I personally see that, in my mind, the winner of this draft, because of the desperation, because of the need, because of the fact that shock value was, shout out to Nick and Delilah, Chicago Bears, because you get a guy, you have an opportunity to get a guy like that, and I fully believe he could definitely change them, add at least 5 wins to that thing if he stays healthy and if he can get everything going. Marcus. Yo, that my man, I'll tell you that right there, my favorite player in the draft, De'Ami Brown, North Carolina wide receiver. Oh my goodness, man. This man is going to take the top off the defense. I'm so excited about him. Be huge. If y'all know me, I'm a huge diehard North Carolina fan. Wanted to go to Chapel Hill. I was born in Raleigh. You know what I mean? So I absolutely love that we got this guy, man. He is a solid pick. Jamin Davis, I was disappointed about that, man. I really wanted either Jeremiah OK or I wanted.
I had Michael Parsons. I had y'all taking him.
I'm glad he went where he went because I've heard he has characteristics. Who knows the truth to that? But I'm glad he went to Dallas because he can keep that character nonsense out there. I don't think that Del Rio, our defense coordinator, and Ron Rivera would have put up with that too long.
I believe, and Jack Del Rio, former defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, when he was here, I personally believe that Rivera and Del Rio would have sat him down, make sure that hey, listen, this is who we are. We're not going to take that kind of nonsense. If you need counseling, let us know. We'll get the resources that you need. So, I mean, for me, I would say the biggest surprise was the fact that every wide receiver, the quarterback, Justin, Jalen Hurts, everyone was reunited with their wide receiver. Everyone got reunited. That was crazy. I thought the surprise was that the Bengals did not value protecting Joe Burrow, and instead of giving him Jamar Chase. Did you look that up? Because I saw that in your video. Did you look that up? Because I have one of my buddies, Mike Wilson, is a diehard Bengals fan, and they actually, I know that we're putting a lot of value on Penei Sewell, and right now he's the second coming of like a Trent Williams. My thing is, I think they put in enough attention. And the way first I'll say this. The way that he put it to me was they already had a lot of guys that they were looking at that you can get in the second and third round. You had an opportunity to do. Number one thing you want to do is you want to protect your quarterback, yes. But you also want to put people around your quarterback that know your quarterback. You know what I mean? And who else to put around him but his number one guy from school, the guy that he won a national championship, stud receiver, Jamar Chase. You get him, you bring him together, they're going to make magic. You can get other guys in the back, other linemen in the background. We picked up Samuel Cosme out of Texas, big 6'7", 310-pound guy in the second round. So I think you can do that. And when you have somebody, again, hindsight's 2020. We'll figure out this season if this is true. But when you have somebody that is a talent like a Jamar Chase, and then he's ended up playing with the guy that helped him. They helped each other become great. I think you got to take that up. I agree with what you're saying, and I like that the Lions. I'm surprised they got him. I like that they picked him. Because I do have this unwritten rule. Well, actually, let's go. Actually, wait. Lamar Arrington did praise Micah Parsons. Does his opinion matter or not? I mean, so
Lamar. You tell me. What do you think of Lamar Arrington? I like the guy in Detroit Aikman's career, Redskins guy. I was still super hyped when we got him out of school. Things unfortunately didn't work out. Some could consider him a bust. He wasn't as great as he was in college.
I thought Lamar Arrington was all right.
He was all right. He wasn't as great.
His teammate Courtney Brown was not that great.
He was better than Courtney Brown. Yes. He was better than Courtney Brown in that. But the Browns were so awful those years, man. I can't and now we weren't too much better in that time, but he definitely was beneficial. He was more of a Lawrence Taylor type linebacker where it's just like you don't cover, you just go. Ball will go right to the quarterback, do it like that. So I liked him. I liked him a lot. He wasn't,
Right, I get you. I mean, like I said, I was really surprised. I'm just a firm believer. I value left tackles. I really do. It's just something about protecting your quarterback's blind side and also protecting him from injuries. The Indianapolis Colts did not do that with Andrew Luck. I don't want to hear, well, they had Anthony Costanzo and Ryan Kelly. They did not give him an offensive line. Now, like you said, we'll see what happens this season and in the 5 years from now. We'll reevaluate it. Was it a good pick? We'll see. Penasu, I agree that the line. I think that was smart by Detroit to get a guy like Penasu who was there for sure. Biggest surprise I would say was J.C. Horn getting drafted before Patrick Surtain. I actually had Carolina getting. I had them getting a wide receiver. Or Kyle Pitts. I didn't like the Kyle Pitts pick, but I think Matt Ryan won the draft because it shows that they're going to commit to Matt Ryan. Because I think personally, because they can't afford because of his cap. Because I think they're going to pay this year.
I love that pick. I thought that was working. That's who I had them picking. I had them picking Kyle Pitts because I thought if you gave essentially like you want to give your quarterback help, I think this gives Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones help. And now
I think Hayden Hurst did not fulfill expectations. Former Baltimore Raven.
Right. They've been always trying to live up to a Tony Gonzalez. They've been always trying to get the next Tony. So I think hopefully Pitts can be that.
For sure. I would say who else? My prediction was wrong. I had all 5 quarterbacks going within the first 10 picks. I had Justin Fields. I didn't think Trey Lance was going to be San Francisco's pick. I didn't think Mac Jones would fall that low to New England. The Jets, I know people were upset they didn't get a wide receiver, but I see their approach. They want to protect their investment now in Zach Wilson.
Right.
So, obviously, I'm biased. I think I was surprised Rashard Bateman was actually there. I was surprised. Now I
had him going to you guys.
Now I really thought they were with that pick. They were going to take Jeremiah. But it was like Rashard Bateman. Okay, so I said Jeremiah's still there, but it didn't phase me if the Saints or the Bills took it because there was a couple guys that were I had them in my top 20, like Gregory Rousseau. I'm like, wow, it fell off that bad. I did get my prediction right. Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask. I'm sorry, I got that right. Kyle Trask.
Yep.
We got picked as Tom Brady's successor, so I got that prediction right. But there were some other guys, man. Like the Saints, they drafted Peyton Turner.
From Houston. Yeah,
I was like, okay,
he's good. He's not that good. I've seen him play. He's good. He's not that good.
See, I think that was to replace Trey Hendrickson, who went to Cincinnati, to replace him. And I thought they could have used the corner to play on the other side of Marshawn Lattimore.
Right.
I was really surprised there was a couple guys that really went in the second round, third round, and they were taken. I cannot sleep on this Tylan Wallace. I think he's going to be a great wide receiver for us.
He was a playmaker at Oklahoma State. And the other guy I wish we would have got was Chuba Hubbard, their running back, who's a monster. But Tylan Hubbard is a great receiver.
Great pick. I like it. They got they call him Big Country, Ben Cleveland. They had him in the third round. Guard. I think again Marshall Yonder's no longer has been gone for a couple of years. They need some toughness in that interior line. So I was disappointed with that last pick. I understand the guy we drafted from Penn State, but he didn't get a sack, and I think it's just all. I think this is just he's just all potential to me. So definitely, I would say Washington. I think got a good pick. I like Jamin Davis. I do. I think he's a great pick. Y'all said it in the show yesterday. You really evaluated. Ablo was really kind of disappointed. I don't think he really.
I didn't like it personally. I mean, I hope it ends up working well. But I think, like I said, I have been speaking Jeremiah O'Kay and Christian Darrisaw all spring. I've been talking about them for months, and the fact that the both of them were there and we bypassed them both for Jamin Davis kind of blew me, man, because I felt like we could like.
And that was a Ron Rivera pick or Daniel Snyder pick.
I do think that was a Ron Rivera pick because they have been looking at him. And again, and what the point that Will made on the show was that we don't know, we're not privy to all the video that they have. We haven't talked to these guys. We have, you know what I mean? A lot of times it's about fit. And like we saw, Jeremiah O'Kay dropped. He dropped far. You know what I mean? Before he got picked up. And so did Darrisaw. So maybe there was something else going on that, we didn't really know about. I think Ab was saying that Jeremiah O'Kay, that it came out that he had maybe like a heart issue or something like that.
But it was clear by the doctors.
Right, which was clear, which was just like the Laramie Tunsil nonsense where they bring something out there and then really, Laramie
watch his value go down.
That's right.
Like
Laramie, he was more blunt. He shouldn't have been doing that, but still for them to send that out was
with Tunsil was that came out minutes because I guarantee I'm a firm. This is just me. The Ravens were going to draft Tunsil.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to draft him, but when that video came out, I guarantee you, Ozzie Newsome and them said, Ronnie Stanley, get him.
Mm-hmm.
Get him.
Yeah.
Now with Jeremiah O'Kay, anything, with hard lungs, that's nothing to play with because unfortunately LaMarcus Aldridge in the NBA retired because he has a heart problem. Chris Bosh had to retire because of his lungs. You don't, and Isaiah Austin, former NBA player, had to and those are things we got to take seriously. And I do hope, as the season progresses, Jeremiah is, regularly checking in with the team doctors, which I'm sure he'll do. And I definitely think you guys should have had him there. Again, I had Michael Parsons. So people were going to say y'all could have took a quarterback. I don't know why when you've invested, you gave in Tyler Heineke, but who was there? That was my point. My question is, who was there for you to take a quarterback?
It would have been the only person that would have been available would have been a Kyle Trask, and that would have been way too early to get him. But again, I can't agree with you on that. We didn't invest in Tyler Heineke at that particular point. We had Kyle Allen and Alex Smith on the roster. That was it. And Alex Smith then soon retired. We put in the money.
Alex Smith was not. He was exiled.
Yeah, well, he
was exiled.
There was a lot of stuff. It was Alex Smith. There was a lot of stuff that went on throughout the year, and a lot of stuff that we don't get until the end of the season, where we see all the background stuff, how they were scared to play him, and this and that. And look, but all right, let's be honest though. Let's be honest. You saw the man. Did you see the injury? First of all,
yes, I saw it, and I threw up. I did.
Right. So that injury, and I don't know if you've ever seen the LT's Joe Theismann hit.
I saw it, and that was a dirty play.
Right. So
that was a dirty play. I'm
getting off topic because I don't agree with you. I don't think it was a dirty play. I think he tried to bring him down, and he was just in his position. I don't think it was a dirty play. I can't agree with you on that.
So the Alex Smith play, was that dirty?
No, I thought he got tangled up. I thought his foot because that FedEx Field grass turf field that it ain't the best. No. It ain't RFK. It ain't dirt. You know what I mean? And gravel and all that stuff. But it ain't the best. And you saw the video. His foot got caught. But I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was as bad as it was because I wasn't looking at his leg. I was looking at, him
foot.
being down. Right. I wasn't looking at any of that. And once I saw how that whole thing ooh, that was like, ooh, that was awful.
It
You know what I
was.
mean? So,
But
but for that, I didn't want him. I didn't think he was going to come back. I didn't want him back. I would have been. I was scared to put him back. The first play he goes out there, we're playing the Rams. The pocket collapses, and none other than Aaron Donald jumps on his back and puts all his weight on Alex Smith. I thought Alex Smith was done there. When he came in, I said, why are you putting this guy in the game? And there's nothing against Alex Smith. It's just that the man had a brace on his leg, under a brace on his leg, you know what I mean? Like, his whole thing was locked up. I could not, with a straight face, say, man, I am 100% certain I want to put you in this game. I'm sorry. I couldn't. That scared the hell out of me.
That's fair. I just think that, you know, and it's funny, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna step on soapbox for just a quick minute. You know, we don't give Alex Smith the credit that I think he deserves. You know, regardless or not, he made the Kansas City Chiefs elite without half those weapons Patrick Mahomes has. You know, we don't talk about that. We didn't talk about the fact that no matter where Alex Smith's played, he's kind of made the teams better. I just
went undefeated at Utah. They went undefeated at Utah under Urban Meyer.
Yeah. I just don't like the fact that, you know, here it is, you come out and go, well, we didn't want to play him because, you know, we kind of didn't want him here anymore because we didn't want to risk him getting injured. Well, if that's the case, then why didn't you before the season say, hey, well, you know what? We don't want to bring you back. Teddy Bridgewater had kind of had the same injury, and at the last few games, Alex hindered his game this past season. I wish him the best for sure. We do. Mm-hmm. I just think that the way the Washington football team handled it was poor, and I think when his wife comes in there, I think that's Alex. I don't think that's his wife. I think that's Alex. That's just my opinion. But you know,
I think it was her because, you know, at the end of the day, that's the plate right there. You know, that's where she gets her. That's where her bread is buttered. So she got to make sure that's, you know what I mean. And not saying she was going to throw him back out there, because I would like to think that she was like myself, where it's like, look, you had your years. You took that team, that San Francisco team before Kaepernick came in. You're absolutely right. It was Alex Smith. And if I'm not mistaken, that Super Bowl year against the Ravens, Alex Smith was in there half the year and they got hurt or something. And then they put in Colin Kaepernick. Shout out to Colin Kaepernick. It's a shame you don't have a job, my friend. But yeah, I definitely think Dan wanted Alex back. Sure. But I'm going to say this though. Honestly, Alex Smith, I thought this year was a culmination. He did great at Kansas City, and then unfortunately was moved out. He did great at San Francisco, unfortunately was moved out. We were surprised that we got him. It was on the back end of our thing with Kirk Cousins, where we actually signed Alex Smith prior to releasing Kirk Cousins. So you know what I mean? It's like you're sitting here starting a relationship with another girlfriend, and you ain't even broke up with the one you was with.
Exactly.
Great. You know what I mean?
Great. I love that.
So we did him dirty. We brought him in on those kind of false, you know, pretenses and things like that. And people forget, before he got hurt, he had us at 6-2. Yep. We were leading the division. Went 6-2.
I remember that.
Lost that game to Houston.
And after the injury, it just went down.
It went south.
I really think, in my personal opinion, I really think that injury really, really shook the team up. I really do. I really do.
On the flip side to that, you know what I mean? There's always a silver lining. That injury definitely tore our team up. And for 2 years, we were struggling. Yep. But then we were able to be so poor that we got the number 2 pick. The number 2 pick,
the great Chase Young,
changed the whole dynamic of the thing.
And y'all got one of his boys in this last week's draft, actually.
Yes.
So the running back.
Derek Patterson out of Buffalo.
Yes, because he went to what school? I know it's a school in DC. Yeah. It's DC or Baltimore. He went to.
Yep. And let me give you.
Dude can play. I'm telling you.
2 stat lines on this guy. November 17th, he played. I believe it was was it Bowling Green?
Bowling Green.
I think he had 40 some odd carries for 300 yards. 2 weeks later, 1 week of missed and 4 touchdowns in that game. That 2 weeks later, he played Kent State. He had 36 carries, 401 yards, 8 touchdowns in that game. Oh yeah, I'm excited about this guy. I watched these games.
And what's funny, and I think they can mix it up him and Antonio Gibson, like they did here with us with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. You know, I believe they definitely can mix it up. Well, y'all got a diamond for sure. You definitely got a diamond for sure.
I'm telling you, we got the skill positions for us. I was very, very excited about, and I'm gonna be honest with you, having that old wily veteran, somebody like a Philip Rivers was, you know, in Fitzpatrick, he'll give you your 6-7 games. He'll go half season and just be lights out, and then he'll fall off the face of the earth. But still, hopefully for us, you know, he doesn't do that. But we've definitely fed him some very good pieces of that puzzle. So hopefully we can really work this thing out. I like what they got going on over there.
Definitely. I just want to wrap up. With the Alex Smith injury, just want to wrap that up. I don't think I put it up there with Kevin Ware and Paul George's injury. Joe Theismann's in that top 5, but at number 1, it has to be Kevin Ware because when you saw it.
Yeah. No, wait, Kevin Ware was.
I forgot what school.
Louisville.
Louisville, yes.
Was that the one where they first had those the court and it had lower? I did see that one. It was like Duke or something, and he. Yeah. Oh, that was nasty.
Was bad. Now Paul George.
I saw that live. I saw that one live, and I remember looking like, what? I was like, what happened?
Exactly.
And I was like, what? They showed it. I was like, oh.
And they showed it too.
There you go.
The Paul George
that was nasty.
Listen, every time I see it, I gotta look away because I can't look at that. I can't. Yep. Paul George was oh gosh. But
but look, to go back. Oh, go ahead. Say what you're saying. I'll say that.
But it's just that those injuries I have to put in my top 5. But because Kevin Wares was just so like, oh my gosh, because you saw everybody just go, whoa, what am I looking at? Paul George. They had to stop the game. Yeah. Joe Theismann, that ended his career. Alex Smith, that was a potential career ender because they were talking about they might have to potentially amputate his leg. So
now look, that LT. I don't think. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen that play millions of times. My brother, my oldest brother, shout out to him. It's his birthday tomorrow. He'll be 60. He's from New York. Diehard Giants fan. He has a big, huge Ford F-150 New York blue Giants truck. On one side it has Tiki Barber. On the other side it has Strahan, and he has Strahan in the Super Bowl ring. And on that back flap where you pull out to open up the bed.
Michael Strahan on this truck?
Yeah, on the side. He has on one side he has Tiki Barber, one side he has Michael Strahan, and on that back flap where you pull it open, he has Theismann about to get hit by LT.
Right. That ain't right.
But I don't think it was. Look, I'm telling you, I don't think it was. An intentional anything.
I don't think it was intentional. I just think the way. I guess because I guess the type of sports that I have since grown up watching, it's become more. I'm all about playing hard football, but there is a line where you go, okay, you know what, that was a bit much. Like where Stingley, I wasn't born when this happened. When Stingley that got paralyzed? We paralyzed the wide receiver across the middle. Yeah. No, we can say that's dirty because Vontae's perfect and did it try to do Antonio Brown. But, man. I get what you're saying on that. But
and the only reason I say that is because you look at it. If you keep going, obviously you turn away when you look at that. But if you keep rolling that footage, as soon as it happens, LT, the most feared defender in NFL, jumps up like a little kid and just like, like it's screaming louder than the Redskins players or Joe Theismann on the ground. So I gotta believe that it's one of those things that
it just happened. But I
yeah,
guess
he
for
played
me,
with such reckless abandon that it
right,
just
right.
it was horrible. It was unfortunate, but
Like I said, you're a little older than me, so I mean, my dad, he always he remembers that play. He said that's football.
yeah,
It just
yeah,
it happens. So,
yeah, yeah.
but I mean, with but like I said, with the Ravens draft class, I think we did pretty well. I am a little. I do question the guy we got, Ben Mason, with the in the 5th round. He could play fullback, D line, and tight end.
I did see
Uh,
that.
I was a little confused on that. We already got Patrick Ricard, but I want to see what they're going to do with that. But I think both of our teams did a great job. I wish these guys nothing but the best. Like Marcus said, training camp's going to be intense for
Yep,
sure.
can't wait for that.
I definitely do think. I think some, again, I kind of want to see what this year's going to look like as we close it out. I am interested to see how a lot of these guys are going to look. COVID really, really messed some things up. The amount of injuries from last year were crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely want to give my thoughts and prayers out to Jawan Jones, offensive line for the Denver Broncos. Could potentially miss out on $20 million because of working out outside the Broncos training camp. And Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and others have come out and said that's not right. I just think, and again, these guys, they're putting their bodies on the line, and it's right. and the way last year was COVID training camp, all that. I'm really hoping to see how things are going to be this year. Guys really getting healthy. I'm kind of concerned. 17 games. We'll see. We'll see how that looks. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any closing comments before we close it out? I know we went. It's getting late. You call it?
No, yeah, no. It's this year's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to it for sure. But again, there's still a lot more out there on the plate because June 1st, which is less than a month away right now.
Yep.
June 1st is when, if you and I know you've looked this up, Aaron Rodgers, if they even if they cut him, if they're trying to trade him or anything, they can't do it now. The cap hit is almost 30 mil almost if they do it right now. Yep. But if they do it June 1st, then it goes down to like 16 mil this year.
15 and a half, something like that, for sure.
Right. And then like another amount the next year. So, there's a lot of stuff that's still going on there, and there's still free agents out there. So
yeah, for sure.
There's still stuff out there. I'm eager to see this stuff.
For sure. So, appreciate you, Marcus. Definitely thank you for the support. Definitely. I agree. It's just, again, also too, free agency was weird this year too. Like Richard Sherman's still out there. It's just like, wow. And again, we're saying that Richard Sherman.
Hey, shout out to Richard Sherman because he was definitely like, the best place for Aaron is Washington. So shout out to you. And you might get a contract for that one, man. You might get a contract. Come on over to us, Richard. I like you. You can still play for us.
Well, you know what's funny? Before he left to go to San Francisco, Trent Williams, after the game, he walked up to Richard Sherman, basically saying, Richard Sherman, you all know Richard Sherman is a trash talker, and KJ Wright. Basically he's like, look, I'm gonna punch you in your face, and he clocked him right in front of the game. That's what I was like. That is, I love Trent Williams for that.
Yeah. He did.
And I'm a Richard Sherman fan. I love Richard Sherman. But Richard Sherman.
That's what I disliked Richard Sherman because he beat my squad and we put up 14 in the first couple minutes of that game. And that's the year they went on the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
And then yeah.
That's
so I definitely didn't like that, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
I ain't tripping that hard over it,
For sure.
So.
For sure. Well, Sean, I appreciate you joining me on this video. I hope we can chop it up again. Definitely enjoyed it. Listen, y'all, if y'all enjoyed the video stream, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Please comment. Please share. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Like the video as well. I'm going to leave Sean's YouTube channel in the description below. Check us out. With Let's Talk Football. Again, man, we're on the road to greatness. Sean, you want to go ahead? You want to say any last words?
Live from Saturday. No, yeah, that's it. I'm good.
All right, y'all. We out of here. Everybody have a good weekend. Peace. Stay up. Stay safe. We out.
Yeah.